volunteer. Work stop. He should be. You like, and I was back here.
Makes it feel really exciting.
It's by me. Yeah.
Yellow across the
Yeah.
Pat, can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I hear you good. Thank you.
All right.
Well, I wonder, they did us, they decided to help.
amazing, the quiet before the storm. January. But they put theirs in.
They didn't.
Did you have that?
This nice.
Oh, yeah, this is great. Big Macs. Okay, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Mills County Zoning Board of Adjustment. Can I get a roll call, please?
Collins,
Here?
Boca,
Here.
White,
Here.
Warren. Here. Gentlemen. Here.
You good, Beth?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pat, you might want to mute yours and unmute it when you do it, because there's a big background when somebody comes into your area there.
I'm not sure I know how to do that.
I got you.
Okay. Okay, all right. Okay, the first item up for business is the review, action, and approval of the current meeting agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the current meeting agenda.
I'll second. Motion by Jenny, a second by Ted, thank you. Second item is the review and action of the previous meeting minute and the resolution, which was from the November meeting, I believe, 2024, Clay Lincoln for the RV area. I'll motion to approve.
A second.
And the second by James. Okay, the first item up for business is the discussion and formal action on the chair selection of the new 2025 zoning board of adjustment officers.
Every year you elect a new chair and a new vice chair. Or you can nominate.
Do we
Keep it
just
the same.
roll with it?
You can keep it the same. Somebody just got to make it a motion to that, and then if you want to rotate.
I'll make a motion to leave the board.
I'll second it.
Okay. We have a motion to leave the board as is and a second by Heather. Can I get a roll call, please?
Collins.
Got him muted.
You got a meeting. Unmuting. Collins.
Good.
Yeah. Golka,
Yes,
like,
Yes.
Warren. Yes. Gentlemen. Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, tonight's new business is the discussion and formal action on the conditional use application 2501. CUP 203 for the proposed resource extraction for a limestone quarry involving on-site extraction of surface and subsurface mineral products or natural resources, excluding site grading for a specific construction project or preparation of a site for subsequent development. It is in Mills County. It is in Anderson Township, and it is in the agricultural zoning district. If the applicant's ready, you can come up to the table, which you're at, and you can start your presentation.
I'm Seth Wise, Vice President, Shellberg Construction. We've got President Mark Shellberg, Executive Vice President Gregory Shellberg. The man who put all the packets together is our engineer, environmental manager, Brandon Montgomery. And for you unfortunate people that know this guy, Nick Jameson, he's our sales manager for Shellbergs. So, like I said, my name's Seth Wise, and I'm here representing fourth generation Shellberg Construction with our headquarters in Glenwood or Greenfield, Iowa. We are an aggregate materials producer in Southwest Iowa and South Central Iowa, as well as Northwest Missouri. Our aggregate materials range from agricultural limestone to crushed rock for road maintenance and larger aggregate for erosion control. A little history about Shellberg Construction. My great-grandfather, E.F. Shellberg, started the company back in 1937. He purchased an old county quarry just north of Greenfield. There, he and two others quarry and crush one load of aggregate to take 5 miles of town and sell at dinner. They would return and go through the same process of blasting, picking, and crushing to return with another load at supper time. Can't imagine the pace-taking process that was. It's a little different these days. Through 88 years and 4 generations, we have now grown the company to over 200 employees. One of EF's biggest accomplishments that he would want me to mention is the EF and Sylvia Shellberg's Foundation. Through his hard work in growing the company, the foundation was started in 1986. The foundation was created to show the ongoing expression and appreciation to the communities. The purpose of the foundation was to give financial assistance to nonprofit, charitable, and educational causes. The ultimate goal is to help improve, support communities with a pass-it-on mentality. Mills County has been heavily involved, and I personally love meeting with old and new applicants every year. Crushed aggregate is the building block of all infrastructure. It is a limited resource that we have professionally extracted for the past 88 years. Through extensive exploration, we found an economically feasible limestone ledge to quarry right here in Mills County's backyard. With the quarry in this location, it should help cut costs, generate tax revenue, generate new employment, and help support local businesses. It will also help prolong the lifespan of our Malvern quarry that's here in Mills County. We're here today to request the board to grant us a conditional use permit for the sections of Northeast Mills County located in your packets. Now our project's summary. Shellberg Construction Inc. is proposing the creation of a new quarry site located in northeastern Mills County, Iowa. Proposed operation is a limestone aggregate production facility. The site will supply limestone aggregate to the surrounding areas. Operations are anticipated to start from the southern portion of the property and progress north over time. Topsoil will be removed and stockpiled in the berms. Remaining overburden will be used to backfill areas already quarried, and topsoil will be placed on top. Reclaimed ground will be returned to agricultural use. Surface water runoff will be diverted using good engineering practices to reduce erosion, improve water quality in accordance with the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination Systems permit. The remaining pit will be graded to surrounding surface water drains to the area will meet the Division of Soil Conservation and Water Quality rules of the Iowa Administrative Code. So if we go on, maybe look at some of the mapping. I'm on progression 1, the first 5 years. Should be easier to follow. So we're. The legend, the yellow area is the section where we're gonna begin excavation. And the initial pit, that's where the initial pit's gonna be. Black outline around that is gonna be where our topsoil berms are gonna be placed to help the visibility from the roads too into the pit. The blue section on north, just north of the pit area, it's gonna be a temporary stockpile yard. With access from 59. That entrance there in the middle is not set in stone. It could be moved north or south in, but that's where our initial stockpile yard is intended to be. So if we move to the next progression, your 5-year, 10-year is going to show them that we relocated that stockpile. So we can in turn mine the area where the original stockpile is located. As you can see from the legend, the green area that's the start of the reclamation from the land that was already quarried. The next map, it's just going to show progression to the north. Probably going to show you that the reclamation with the green lines. We go back, then we go to the 2025 year progression 5. It marches all the way to the northeast section. And this will be where we end our excavation, and in turn where the quarry pond, a pond is going to be located. And all that through there is going to be reclamated. When this is done, the stockpile yard will be reclamated. Everything will be reclamated back to agriculture. For you interested in a topo map, there's a reclaim topography map in the back. It kind of shows reclamation and how the ending pit and pond is going to look. With that said, we need to go through your questions and your conditional use permit.
Not right now, Seth. I think that's good. What level is the rock? How much overburden is on this? I'm just curious.
There's varies to the site, but we get down to bedrock 40, 50 feet or so.
Well, it's neat. It's a little bit different where you're able to take the rock and replace almost the majority of it with farm field again. I mean, that's a little unique compared to most quarries, isn't it?
We've done that.
Have you? Okay.
At Malvern, as we progressed north, we were started off south of the road, and that's went back to farm ground. We've got other sites.
I just assume they always ended up deep in ponds, but that's neat.
Yeah, eventually there will be a pond, but it's not as big as some of the landowners like at the end of the day. They're like, I thought it was going to be bigger.
Okay. Well, very good, Seth. Thank you. We're going to go into the staff report right now.
The staff report really went through with what Mills County Code allows for on this, and it is a conditional use for resource extraction on these parcels of ground in which they've applied for. And with this type of operation, it is so heavily permitted, not just at a local level, but then through the state and federal level, the conditions on it. I know lately we've been putting on quite a few conditions, but there isn't a whole lot of conditions that go along with this, because they do have to follow a lot of state and federal guidelines that goes along with it. So my recommendation on it would be to approve the conditional use resource extraction with the 5 listed conditions on there is that the applicant would obtain the grading permit from the county. For number 1, number 2 would be the applicant will secure the state permit from the Iowa DNR. Number 3 is that the applicant will obtain the third-party inspection reports showing that the site is in compliance with the engineering grading plan that was submitted. Those reports will be submitted each month to the building department for review until the grading portion of the project is complete. Number 4 is that the applicant will secure the building permits for improvements to the site, such as installation of a scale or a scale house. Number 5 would be that the applicant secure the necessary septic and well permits to support the site for the employees. And that's based on the following findings of fact. Number 1 is that the subject property is located in the Class A agricultural district. The zoning ordinance adopted in conjunction with the land use plan stipulate that resource extraction is a permitted conditional use in the district. And number 2 is that Mills County and Southwest Iowa do have a limestone shortage, and the gravel from the site will support the roads in Mills County.
Okay, thank you, Pat. Okay, I'm gonna switch these around instead of having board discussion. If we can go into public comment right now. If there anybody that has public comment, please come up to the podium, state your name and give yourself a few minutes to speak. Okay, it doesn't appear that there's any public comment. We do have a letter that I think everybody on the board. So we'll go ahead and go into board discussion. There is a letter that was sent to us that we don't need to read out loud, but I think everybody's had time to look at it. It is from the adjacent landowner with some concerns about the property. Yep, so my question is, anything changed in the last, since this letter that may encourage anything for this house or this property? Seth, if you have anything.
Yeah, we were in talks with lawyer and John, the landowner, the homeowner, and as of this morning, we purchased that house.
Okay. So the purchase really rectifies the situation that was set up as far as, what the letter kind of went against as far as the performance standards and items like that, the way that I have read this and then read their distinctive questioning on the causes and why they would have wanted. I went through the performance standards in their book that they addressed from the county. If you want to spend a few minutes looking at that. So this would be on the very first sheet. And Matt was saying, there's a lot of different permitting process they have to do versus what like somebody that has done a dirt borrow pit or something like that. So they've got a lot more people coming in on that with their seismographs and stuff like that. So
I've got a couple of questions.
Yep.
And probably more for Matt than anything. Looking at like the initial 0 to 5 year, is there any fencing requirements that they need to have? I was just thinking like as they're digging and this gets deep, it's out in the middle of nowhere, kids out messing around. Is there any type of fencing that we need to require them to have just out of safety for them and people being stupid?
I don't know that it's been a condition required before from us to fence off a site like this.
And as they go back, they kind of go away a little bit from the, I'm just thinking, I don't know. It just popped in my head of,
So typically they have a large berm around the site itself.
Mhm.
And then a lot of times, I think there's gates that get put on parts of it, but to keep kids and stuff like that out of everything, I think that would be,
Right.
that'd be a tough task I don't really know if that really follows with what
I was just
we
asking.
should do with the permit.
Take care of that.
And then the other question I have is like, there's a creek that runs through here. How are you going to like, make sure it doesn't get like I don't want to say contaminated because that's not the right word, but
So I would tell you, so that is gonna be addressed to their general permit number 4 with
The
the state of
DNR?
Iowa.
Okay.
coming From the site and, potential impacts to that stream. Would be there, I'm sure.
okay.
I've got a question for you. The letter that came from the lawyer that was representing the homeowner. He stated in there that the applicant was required to present to the Planning and Zoning Commission. Is that something that's normally done? Because he said this wasn't right, we couldn't approve it unless it went through the Planning and Zoning Commission.
I saw the way that was written in there, and I would, probably respectfully disagree with that attorney on what they're saying there, because the performance standards of what's there is what's written into the code. And the planning commission, along with board of supervisors, adopts the code. So they've really laid out the performance standard. You wouldn't run every conditional use permit to the planning commission for recommendations to the zoning board of adjustment. I mean, that's just not something that's.
And I'm gonna break a little precedent, and we'll only do this one time, just because I want to stay on task. When we have that public comment, it's really important to go speak at that time, because things can get out of hand, but go ahead, what was your question, ma'am?
It may not be the appropriate time.
Okay.
We're sort of lost. We should have contacted the commission long before we came. It appears this is very close to our property. In fact, it might be our property. I cannot understand where this is. And it's right off Highway 59, right?
It's directly off Highway 59, the very northeast corner of.
And in fact, across Applewood is Potawatomi.
Correct.
That is my.
Where's your preference?
Well, if I can understand it. Is this John Paul? That's John Paul, then maybe we're here. But this is Highway 59. No, can't be. Is this Highway 59? This is the waterway on the property part, right?
You know, Beacon doesn't flow over, you have to get on GIS.
There's John Paul's.
Yeah, with the Heather, to go, all the stuff they have to do, this is almost like a mining permit. They are
Okay.
under the gun.
I just, as he was walking us through these, I was just like, you're digging right there. And
They normally are by cricks, like the one by Malvern's by a crick.
right, but I was just thinking like, how deep's it going?
Sure.
Kids get in there, screwed around.
Yeah.
Kids get in there, just
Riding here,
Yeah, there you go.
James Moyer owned the land.
that's because of what it was. That's why we look at this zoning commission.
On the west side.
Well, that's what makes sense to me.
I wonder if that's not a different thing.
I should have.
No problem.
I'm going, where is it?
Okay.
Okay, so it's a.
Another hand up now.
Okay, like I said, I was gonna only do that once, guys. We had the time for the public comment. I hate doing it, but it gets out of hand if we don't. That's a fair question. What they had. One quick second, go ahead.
Our main concern is the roads. What is Mills County gonna take care of the roads, the traffic? Once it's put in with extra.
With extra traffic. Okay, yep.
They go by my house and it shakes the house, the rock trucks do
Okay.
when they go by. And if they got the driveway up to 59, the driveway they got, that's gonna be over the crest of a hill. That's gonna be a danger as far as I'm concerned. But they've got the driveway permit.
Okay.
That now.
The DOT will.
State highway, they'll have.
We're not, and our board doesn't do anything with the traffic, nor does it have it. It's just the land in question.
That's our main concern.
That's the state's jurisdiction. That's their responsibility to care for 59.
And H12.
H12 is a county road though, and that's the one that's really bad already now without traffic.
I know, we understand that. We're being, what the board we're on is sitting on the land. We're not the county with the road department or anything like that. We don't have any say with that. It's just about what can be done with the land itself.
Can I ask one more question?
Okay.
Okay. We live all around where this site is, and so can you talk to us or anybody? How is this gonna affect our water? We have cattle, we have animals, like. How is this? Are we gonna have to make sure that, like, who's gonna pay for our well to be tested to make sure our water's still okay?
There's free water testing available from Gadsden counties through the county. That they'll come out and they'll test your water for you.
Will it need to be tested then more often with all of this going on? Right next to our homes?
I'll let that question, and then this is the last one. I promise. This is the last one. In the past, when you have had a quarry somewhere, how has that affected if or not, if not, the water quality or the amount of water around your sites?
First off, my question would be, are you on the same side of the river as we are?
We're on
the east side of the creek. Okay, so right there, all the water flows into the groundwater flows in there. So if you're on the east side of the river, our water would not be connected.
But what about the well part of it?
Well water, deeper well.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't have deep wells. You said a deeper well.
No, as you
He's
said,
asking it first.
what would happen with your well water? It would, if you're not on a deep well, it'd be the same as the groundwater. It is all going to go to the river. We maintain test wells on our property, just more to cover your butt type deal. And we go ahead and monthly just check those for depth. And so at least we'll have a record of what we're doing close by to ours.
Is it something we're gonna have to do then? Is we're gonna have to test ours every month to make sure we still have water?
We just check the level just to have a record of ours on our side of the river.
How far away are you? Mile away, by road, half a mile off state. There won't be any effect at all. You can guarantee that.
I can tell you one thing, a lot of times this comes up on almost every single application, and it seems like it sounds like a credible deal. It's never came back to this board in the since 2008, since the board started, that there's been something that's came back and affected the water quality on it. With all of the associations and all the people they have to go through, a company like this it's somewhat like a mining permit is what I'm going to call it almost. They've got so many eyeballs on it, and the EPA and everybody else that's involved in it, they can't take away a right from somebody else. Okay, so we're going to try to stick with the meeting here. If we do any more future meetings, please come up when it's the public comment time. It really helps a lot of the back and forth. Okay, so we're still on board discussion. So with the looking,
Pat, it's up to you if you want to unmute during this time, so you can.
M Shaw, that is mine.
Sorry. One more time, Pat, sorry, I muted you again.
The microphone's
Should
still
be a button
red.
at the bottom.
There
you
it
go.
is.
Gotcha.
No, I really don't have any questions. I mean, this is allowed in the county, legal owners. I mean, I think we need to approve this.
Thanks, Pat. I'm going through all the conditions. They talk about the stockpiles, the explosives, the traffic congestion, the streets adequately addressed with easily accessible entrances, adequate room for road trucks in the site. This is in the site. We're strongly regulated by DNR, EPA, MSHA, ATF, and the state fire marshal. Regulations to protect the use of. Does everybody feel this letter that's kind of a mute point now with the recent?
Yes.
So that kind of takes away the Sandy. Yes. Any more board discussion? Yes.
I don't know how we can say no.
I think they're good points. I mean, I can understand anybody that's gonna be close to one, but I also understand that the regulations that they go through these things are not a cookie cutter type thing, and it is gonna be something that benefits the county, it benefits Mills County people, it benefits that side of the county. You've got rock quarries that are closer to that area.
Or I can just say something brief. So when we're talking about benefits to the county, I'm not sure what the property is exactly gonna be assessed at and what the tax evaluation is gonna be. I'm sure that whatever the taxes are, it's gonna be more than if it were farm ground. You guys don't qualify for the rollbacks that farm ground does. In addition to that, we can include the jobs as part of it. Do we know roughly how many people could be employed at this site?
Say 13 to 15.
Okay, and then also, we have instances right now at the Malvern Rock Quarry where every once in a while we run out of rock. We gotta find rock somewhere else. And so that's why we have a huge stockpile back on the north side of this building. We have multiple places where we can get rock, and not only has cost savings for the county, but also make sure is that we have a reliable supply. I was pretty concerned when it came to John Paul's ground. I was pretty concerned about just, he's had that house for a long time. I didn't want anything to be intrusive on us too much. I know his wife has had some health issues, but from my standpoint, I see the benefits, the jobs, the taxes, and I see the benefits of the rock for the county secondary roads. In addition to that, since John sold out his property to you folks, I would agree that I don't think there's any reason why this board would approve it, would not approve it. When it comes to the Board of Adjustment, we really just check if people met the qualifications to get a conditional use permit. There's really not a whole lot of back and forth. Did you guys meet the ordinances? Okay, you did. We're gonna approve it. So I say that because some people in the audience don't know that. I didn't know until my first Board of Adjustment meeting, so.
Okay, thank you, Jack.
Yeah.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Yes, we have a motion by Pat to approve.
I'll second.
We have a second. Can I get a roll call, please?
Collins,
Yes.
Golka,
Yes.
Like,
Yes,
Warren,
Yes.
Gentlemen.
Yes.
and I want to make one more point. It's approved as is with the staff recommendations. Okay. Is there any other business? No.
So in your packets there, we provided you a calendar with an attendance report, since this is the first meeting of the year.
So it's
Some members like to see this to give them some bragging rights, and
So I was too technically, even though I was on Zoom. I'm not apologizing. You guys kept me from margaritas there.
Like Meryl lives here.
we had Ted Golka, Corey like.
So Meryl lives here.
And then, same thing, so for the calendar, for this year, it would be, plan would be just to keep meeting at the same dates and times that we have. At the time. And then it does look, and so then the next thing is upcoming meeting, it does look like next month we'll have a variance request on the books, we'll have a meeting.
Yep. Ours is the first house.
I'll be Zoom on that one. Audra, I'll need to Zoom on that one. I'll be in Huntsville. I just have to say my dad.
There's just to give the zoning board of adjustment kind of an update, there's some state legislature work going on about variances, right? Because they're always tough when they come in here and they ask about them. And I don't think that if it goes through at the state level, it's gonna make it even tougher on us and the board, because they're changing they want to change the verbiage for a zoning board of adjustment to move to practical difficulties. And with practical difficulties not necessarily being defined, a tree in the way is a practical difficulty. I mean, you could define it as almost anything.
Not having any money to do it.
Right,
Yeah.
because that could be a practical difficulty if I have to move it back. I can't afford the dirt work to go with it or something. So I think, Dave Seek reached out about this and I gave him my points of view. It's been a big talk on the zoning administrators, email streams back and forth about what to do about this necessary thing. So it does take away what could be seen as local control. And that's kind of what some of the state people are pushing at it, is that, we want the people of the counties that have zoning ordinances, which is almost all of them, they're there for a reason. We want those things to be put in place. And if you attend those ISU training sessions for zoning board of adjustment people, they don't want, that their recommendation is not to give out any variances. We can really push hard on those things. And it's so for the state people to make it harder for the zoning board of adjustment to say no. I think it's a little bit unfair on some of the things that go on. So, but I'll keep tracking that, and as by next month, I should have another update for you on where that's moving through at the state legislature. But Dave voted against it. It did move forward. It did pass, even though he voted against. Let's see where it goes.
Because a couple of years ago, whatever the assistant attorney's name was at that time, he gave us this big whole thing about, no more variances.
Yeah,
So,
that was maybe that came from the county attorney. I believe that person was wanting to not allow any variances, but
I felt like it came from not just county, but it came down from the state too, of no more variances. I can't remember. It's in my notebook.
It should be right now, it should be pretty hard to meet the criteria, which the zoning board of adjustment should say yes to a variance. But with them throwing out just putting in the term practical difficulty, that could be about anything. It would be hard to say no at that point in time if we had variances left and right. Then at that point, you're registering your zoning ordinance null to setbacks. Then you're just building whatever, wherever. There needs to be a little bit of uniformity to it, because people always come in, they talk about the property values. That right there would potentially decrease property values if you could build things right up against the roads, property lines, all around. But I will update you next month. I'll watch it as it goes through and give you a heads up on what the state's doing. Okay. So that's all I have for you tonight.
all right. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thanks, Pat.
Thanks, Pat.
Well.
Yeah, thank you.